So last time we talked about a bunch of tools, a bunch of things Scatter's bringing that we're trying to push mainstream adoption here. And where do you see this going in 2019? What's still lacking in the space for mainstream adoption?
I think I'm going to say that easy onboarding is the biggest friction point. So right now, when a user has to go through the process of downloading a wallet, installing a wallet, creating an EOS account, funding that account, understanding how staking works, logging into different applications, finally to do the actual thing that they want to do, I think we're probably losing like 90 or 95% of users at some point along the way. And anything that we can do to make that entire process easier is like part of what we want to tackle in 2019. So that means funding with fiat into EOS accounts, creating those accounts, helping users manage those accounts, auto-converting tokens into whatever applicable token the user needs to use that application. I mean, like all of these technologies, we're not that far off from. And one by one, as those dominoes fall, we're going to see more exponential growth within not just EOS, but like all of blockchain itself. Because like I don't think that we're the only ones that are working on these problems. And as we progress through each of those problems, we'll find more and more blockchain users are more and more comfortable with these technologies, and it's just going to explode. Like at some point, there's some threshold somewhere, and once we cross that threshold, we're going to see mainstream adoption.
It was almost laughable hearing you talk about the steps that we need to do in order to just use an app. Like if I want to go right now and just use some app on EOS, I have to do these 5 different things, which are extremely complicated. They're not easy things, getting onto an exchange, providing KYC, converting to EOS tokens, funding an EOS account, staking some EOS, opening up an application either from like a mobile wallet or from Scatter on your browser. It's like, these are things that, wow. If I was a centralized website, I'd log in with Facebook and be done.
It's amazing that people use anything at all. I mean, like really, this is what we expect of people. That's crazy.
But from the last episode, we talked about Bridge, and Bridge makes it seem like it still has a lot of friction. You're still going to need to get funds somehow. But if I was obsessed with an EOS game and I wanted my friend who was non-crypto to get into it, with Bridge implemented on this application, I would technically only need to inform him how to create a Coinbase account so that they could learn how to just buy crypto or any alternative exchange. Or if I wanted to really be quick with it, I could tell them to Venmo or PayPal me $100, and I would send them $100 of crypto, and then they could get going with that. But that's ridiculous. We shouldn't expect, even that's a lot of friction. So I saw that EOS Links actually integrated the US carbon dollar. So they implemented a stable coin with ACH deposits and withdrawals from within the wallet itself. So I think that is huge, because as soon as you have the KYC for that integration or to use that carbon USD, your on and off ramp into EOS is there. And then with tools like Scatter, you could use applications on Ethereum or Tron without actually creating wallets.
So it's actually funny that you say that, because we spoke with the Carbon team, what was it, 4 days ago, about exactly this as an onboarding vessel for moving fiat funds into the crypto space. And one of the exciting things that we talked about during that call was integrating KYC right into Scatter, where right now, if you go to you go to Binance or Bitfinex or Kraken or et cetera, and you want to go through their KYC process, you have to do the same stupid steps over and over and over. And every time that I see the same thing happen over and over and over, it says to me, this is something that we can automate. And if we can automate it in a fashion where the user uploads his private documents to his private scatter and integrate with Binance or Bitfinex or whatever other service, including Carbon, and upload those KYC documents to the end provider, and then they say, okay, you're legit.
Click of a button.
At the click of a button, you're legit, and you want to onboard your funds, enter your credit card, and let's move on with our lives. I mean, like, it should be that easy, so let's make it that easy.
It should be that easy, but teams like Civic on Ethereum they ICO'd last June and have been working on this problem for over a year now. And
they are not the James brothers.
They aren't. And they're also still on Ethereum. so it takes things
transaction time.
It takes things a little bit longer, and the exchanges just don't want to eat those transaction fees.
Civic also doesn't support Pennsylvania IDs, which I found out when I couldn't get my beer from the vending machine at Consensus. Anyway, some kind of new license format. They said our identity provider doesn't support this, so nope, garbage.
Moving along,
actually, wait a minute. You guys mentioned, unless you have this exact question, Zach. You guys mentioned mobile a few times in the answers to the previous questions. Mobile is obviously the future. In fact, mobile's the present. Mobile's been the present for a while now. Scatter's coming to mobile. You guys are looking for a developer?
We are. Developers.
What kind of developer? We've got listeners, we've got watchers who have development skills. What kind of people are you looking for?
Well, it depends. We're contemplating either going the completely native route or going some kind of, not wrapper, but native mobile route with JavaScript. Not React, but some other thing that we can use with Vue.js, because our stack right now is Vue.js, so we don't want to have code duplication. If we can find something like that, it will speed up the process considerably. But in general, hey, if you're a good programmer, send us an email at hiring@gets-scatter.com, and we're looking.
Why haven't you guys made more moves, more effort on mobile so far? This one's for Remy, by the way. Why haven't you guys made more effort on mobile thus far? We've got a lot of mobile wallets out. It seems like there's nothing from Scatter to an observer.
So recently, it came to my attention on Reddit. I don't know, 3-4 weeks back. People don't seem to realize that all of those maybe not all of them, but the majority of those mobile wallets are using Scatter's tech stack. So Token Pocket and Meet One, and et cetera, et cetera. They're already using Scatter's technology, and we haven't moved into mobile as fast as probably everybody expected us to, because a lot of these wallets are really great software, and we've kind of been leaning on the solidness of the software, so we don't have to step into the space. Now, that being said, we have a bunch of really unique, good ideas for what we think a mobile experience for Scatter could be, and that we'll do in-house. But we were waiting for the right time and the right ideas, and I think we're there.
So I think more people became aware of the fact that Token Pocket, EOS Links recently, all these different major wallets already use Scatter in the back end. The users just don't see it. And we saw that. You guys made a post recently how you integrated with even more wallets. You just want to list off all of the wallets you're currently integrated with?
Oh, Jesus.
Sure. Hold on. Let me pull up the list.
Metro.
Well, Metro actually wraps Scatter, which is good.
Oh. Nice.
Okay, so it's Token. Well, there's Scatter Extension, Token Pocket, Meet One, IM Token, Pocket EOS, More Wallet, Nova Wallet, Chains Wallet, EOS Live, and there's a Links plugin.
And then that's like every wallet I've ever seen mentioned. And then you mentioned Metro also. Is that the EOS New York hardware wallet?
What they're doing is they're creating a wrapper library to kind of make things easier for devs with specific requirements, so state requirements. because Scatter.js doesn't really handle state at all. And then it wraps EOS and then, or wraps Scatter.js, and then via Scatter.js wraps, these, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 wallets.
So Pete, you want to translate what all that means for someone non-technical with all the wrapping?
It's just really awesome.
It is, as a developer, it's so cool.
It
means that one thing and then have integration into everything.
Yeah, exactly. It means you can, rather than integrating into 13 things, you integrate into one. Rather than having to make 13 adapters, you can just plug right in.
Right.
So that's what I've been most impressed with what you guys have been doing, and the value that you've been adding to the ecosystem is you're not just trying to acquire users and people to use your wallets. You're trying to make the entire EOS ecosystem better, stronger, and the developer community more efficient. And just props to you guys on that. And it's unbelievable to me that you guys haven't put a major focus into your own mobile wallet development up until this point, because like you said, everyone else has been doing such a good job. I can't wait to see what you guys do have in store. When could we expect the Scatter mobile wallet to appear on the app stores? And will it be on iOS and Android, or just one or the other at first? What's the timeline on all of this?
It's going to start on Android. Rami might give you a timeline, but I won't.
We'll just double the timeline. Why don't you just double it in your head and then tell us that number?
You know what? If we can find a couple of really good developers, if we can find a couple of really good mobile developers, because I can't handle desktop and mobile. I tried it, and it's just not working for me. But if we can find a couple of really good mobile developers, we could be looking at a month.
Wow. What about on
if I said if?
What about us Apple people?
Apple has a very strict mentality with what they allow on their devices, and also via their APIs, what they allow other applications to do. And I think that they're right in a lot of cases. It does make development more difficult, and it's really difficult for me to say it, but we're not committing to any date for Apple because of that, because we don't have a prototype working. We don't want to say, hey, yeah, we'll have Apple up by Q2 2019. And if we don't, then we'll disappoint people. We don't want to disappoint. We want to make good software.
But from your job posting that you're looking for the mobile developer, you're looking for a React Native developer. So if they're building in React Native, isn't it cross-platform too? It would be
not React Native, but similar. Yes. However, all of the interaction with applications, even in the prototype that we have right now on Google Play, it's native Java code.
Okay.
It's something that I wrote to interact natively. It's not something that's included in React Native or Native Script or Vue Native or anything like this. It's a proprietary socket layer for that. And sockets are prohibited inside of iOS. You cannot open a WebSocket from an application to listen to other applications, which means that there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we're not sure that if it'll pass in the Apple App Store. So we can't really give any clear estimates on that.
But if anybody knows differently, please send us an email, because we really like to know about that.
You're hired.
Yeah, so I use as many EOS mobile wallets as possible, and they all have their own little app stores, app featured areas, places where you can go to explore new apps, apps that the wallet makers like or trust, or maybe just 100 apps and there's no filtering at all. Do you guys have any plans for that? Or is there something like Scatter apps maybe that's coming out?
Yeah, so actually this week I got the go ahead from Nathan to plow forward with the next iteration of Scatter Desktop, which is going to hugely expand the capabilities of Scatter's dapp browsing experience. One of the biggest features that we think is going to be exciting for users is so when you go through any dapp browser or any pre-selected list of dapps on EOS, you either have a gated experience where the application developer gets to pre-select which dapps you see, which we don't think is in the decentralized mindset, or you have all the apps that are available, and some of them are scams, and some of them are terrible, and you don't know what you're going to be getting. So there has to be a good middle ground, and we think that Riddle is the perfect solution for this, because we're going to have a decentralized solution that defines what's good and what's not, what's trustworthy and what's not, and it's going to be built into Scatter, so the categories that we're going to be defining, the apps in them, you'll know that they're going to be good. You'll know that they're going to be trustworthy. And that's part of the next version that we're going to be putting out, next big version, not, point releases.
That way we don't have to deal with anything that's about us. We don't like being the gatekeepers.
We don't want to be the gatekeepers.
But there's also an inherent UX UI issue with having a fire hose put in your face of all of the safe dapps. There's still going to be so many of them that from a user experience standpoint, it's hard to know which ones you actually want if you can't.
That's what's great about Riddle, though, is it's not only about safe or unsafe. Because Riddle is so compartmentalized into these different fragments, it could be safe, unsafe. It could be good UX, bad UX. It could be a gambling dapp or this kind of dapp or whatever kind of dapp. It's all user specified, right?
And we believe that the cream rises to the top.
That's what the Macho Man used to say.
It did well for him.
It did. So why don't you... So earlier when we were talking about Riddle, we were mostly just talking like safe or unsafe to avoid interacting or signing a bad contract. But what you're saying is it could also have almost like a rating system for applications. It could include a category. It could include like how fun it was.
Scam or not scam is the tiniest little fraction. It's what we happen to be using Riddle for, just kind of our firewall for Scatter. But you could say that somebody is, a good teabagger in a specific game, and you can give him a Riddle reputation for that. You could say that somebody pays back their loans on time. And what is he is Peter a teabagger?
He's a teabagger.
You're pointing at Peter. Oh, and he's hiding. He's for sure a teabagger.
We played Fortnite one time, and I got killed, and he just started squatting over me.
Oh yeah. Well, you didn't get killed by me because my Fortnite skills are subpar.
I just made that up.
But that's the thing. You could rate him as a user of specifically Fortnite as a good player or a bad player or a good leader or a bad leader,
But how are these categories of ratings defined? Because maybe...
Sorry?
They're completely decentralized. You, the users, vote them into the contract.
So we could add new attributes to a Riddle token? Would that be how you would explain it? Okay, so if I wanted to... Contract.
The Riddle tokens can be used to vote on all of these attributes, and you can add these new attributes at will with consensus of the community.
And
so at first we might have just chaos of a million attributes that people spam or like create, and duplicates and misspellings and whatnot. But then eventually that'll settle out, or do you have some kind of maybe mechanism?
So there's two types. There's global and then there's per app. So global are very hard to get added. Let's say they need a large consensus of the community. So global would be things like scam, all things that happen to all apps, right? And then you have smaller fragments, which are, let's take Fortnite, for example, good player, bad player, or it's just status, good player or bad player is all one fragment. Teabagger, that's all one fragment. And those can be added a little bit easier because they're added only with the consensus of the people within that small group.
Right. What's important to them.
And will that consensus be reached faster than our current referendums?
Let's hope so.
Fingers crossed.
The system is smaller, so obviously yes.
Awesome. So with Riddle, do we have a timeline on when we'll start seeing more communication from you guys to explain it to the layperson?
Contracts have been done for a while. Well, not done, but they're very close to done. We're releasing it onto a test net very soon. I won't give an exact date because I don't like to, blow our horns before we're ready, but very soon. These things were done a couple months ago, but we were waiting for some stuff from our lawyers to make sure that everything was okay. And we have to do we're a big user-facing company. We have to make sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's. But things are fairly ready.
I'm excited. One more thing that has me really excited is whenever we implement the most simple things that we're used to in everyday life on the internet, and we finally get that feature, the ability to use that feature in blockchain. And the one I'm talking about right now is recurring payments. It is the most simple thing on using the internet. I sign up for Netflix. It charges me $12 a month like clockwork. The same day, every month, I get another $12 payment or whatever that payment is. But if we want to make contracts with recurring payments in cryptocurrencies, up until now, there's really no solution that I've ever used. So how are you guys tackling that?
In fact, that was the whole premise of Metronome. Remember that? I haven't heard much of that. Jeff Garzick's thing, Steve Bower.
What happened to that?
They're still around. I see their shirts and I see them at conferences.
I think their shirts.
Auction is still going on, But that was their premise: recurring payments. So, yeah.
So there's two ways to go about this, right? There's one which is a smart contract. You can have a smart contract on the blockchain, which you feed it money, and it allocates a specific amount of money to a specific origin on a specific timeline every time. So it kind of runs like a cron job, right? And then there's the other type where you have your local wallet, and you can tell it to run specific cron jobs at specific times. So you're not even on a contract on the blockchain anymore. It's all local. If you have your application closed, you simply won't pay until the next time you open your application. Both of these have pluses and minuses. One, you have to pay in up front. The second, you have to keep your application open. We're just trying to find a happy middle ground here. We're settling on the local perspective because I think that it's a little bit less intrusive and you don't have to pay into things. But the possibilities for stuff like this is enormous. Patreon, which is huge, just decided that they want to get off of Patreon. They don't like what they're doing. They don't like what they're becoming. They want to start going into blockchain. They want people to own their own assets. They want people to have full say. People are waiting for this.
Yeah.
So with recurring payments, with the smart contract, isn't there an issue of having the account balance? So let's say I live paycheck to crypto paycheck, and my Netflix charges me on the first of the month. Luckily I had my $12 in my account for this month, but then my account balance goes below $12 mid-month, but then it goes back above $12 just in time for the next payment on the first of the following month. Would the contract work if in that situation?
A contract would not. Your local payment system would, right? Because just the same as a credit card or a bank account, if you don't have money right now, but you have money the day after, you can call them and be like, hey, charge it up. But a contract doesn't care. By the smart contract, you're done. You're dead.
So I guess from the business end, it's less advantageous for them, but better for the user, because sometimes there's a service that I forget about and it keeps charging me for consecutive months. And I notice it on my bank statements months later and I haven't even used it. But using this local contract, let's stick to the Netflix example. I don't even watch Netflix anymore, but it's charging me on the first of the month.
Have you ever missed your Netflix payment?
We're using hypotheticals here, right?
I have by accident, right?
Oh, I thought you were calling me out.
Just because I used like a prepaid credit card for it. But do you know what happens when you miss your Netflix?
No.
The same second they shut off your service.
So with this local, I keep calling it a contract. Would it still be a contract if it's the local version?
No.
So
it's just a job kind of thing.
Using the Netflix example, if the recurring payment was set up like this, if I never used Netflix for a month and a half, it couldn't really auto bill me because it would only bill me the next time I open up Netflix. It would charge me all my back payments.
Right.
And the publisher or the app owner could probably designate if they want to charge me for that month I never used it, or if they just want to charge me for this current month and start me over because I had a lapse of a month and a half.
So they wouldn't be able to do that, though. Because you, or at least the way that we're doing this, is you would only pay for, let's say you were absent overseas, you're in the Army, whatever, for 6 months. You missed 6 months worth of payments. When you come back, you only pay your latest month, because it doesn't make sense that you would pay suddenly when you open up your scatter for 6 months.
Right. I think what's important here is that Scatter's attitude has to be that we're for the users.
Yeah.
Because the users are what's really important here. And I think that any business that's going to be doing business on the blockchain should accept that attitude, because that's in the spirit of blockchain.
And really, if you can't survive with one user being away for 6 months, maybe you need to get into a different business, right?
I mean, I've seen services where they purposefully make it extremely difficult to cancel just because
Adobe.
Yeah, like I'm talking to the applications that don't have a way to cancel online. They make you pick up the phone and call them. That is ridiculous friction.
It's totally ridiculous, and it's unacceptable in a decentralized system. Like, users should be in control.
And that would never happen with the local system. You just say, "Hey, I'm removing this," and boom, you're done.
That's right.
So how far is the recurring payments fleshed out, and is that something we could expect to see in the first half of 2019? Is that a big enough window? Or second half?
It's technically already implemented. There's just no UI for it, technically speaking.
But I think if there's any developers watching or listening, this is probably a feature that they could think of a million different ways to use it. So hopefully, if nothing else, just talking about it here can open up, turn on some light bulbs here.
We're open source. Put a PR. We love PRs.
All right, so
we hit our banana.
Yeah, we hit our banana. I don't even know if we really got to do a transition to close. I think in the editing process, I'll just cut us off at convenient spots and do a voiceover. If there's anything else that needs talked about, get it in quick.
I think we covered just about every possible topic.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure, guys.
This was fun.
Chatting.
I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I did too. I think going the route we talked about, where we break it up into smaller segments, will make it manageable too, and it'll be like a constant drip. It'll be good for everyone.
There was a lot of information.
If we give them bite-sized bits of 15 minutes talking about security, maybe they will watch it.
Sure.
But this is something different, so I'm excited to put it
Soon
together.
We'll have a riddle store. How about that?
Hey, Zach, join the party. Aww.
I'm going back for it. All right.
All right, this should be the close.
I think it should be the close. So until next time, guys, we'll be relaxing here in Scatterville. We'll see you next time.
That was our close.
I'm good.
Guys, it's been a pleasure to talk about all these categories of discussion with you.
That's catching on categories.
Yeah, it was real nice to meet you guys.